Chapter 1, verse 1, Paul, a bondservant of Jesus Christ, called to be an apostle. That word called means God divinely appointed and selected Paul to be an apostle of Jesus Christ. Now, an apostle is someone who's sent out on a specific mission, and Paul was sent to preach the gospel to the Gentiles. Now, there are only a few apostles in the Bible. God only chose a few people, and one of them was Paul. And I believe Paul was a great choice. This because Paul was a Jew born as a Roman citizen. So he knew the Jewish traditions, he followed the Jewish laws. He was also brought up by a great teacher in Gamaliel. You can read about him in Acts chapter 5. But he also had Roman citizen privileges. With that, he could leverage that to preach the gospel. So I believe Paul was a great choice. However, I don't know if Paul considered himself as a great choice. See, Paul actually considered himself as the chief of sinners. Paul considered himself in 1 Corinthians 15 as the least of the apostles, as someone who's not worthy to be called an apostle. Why did he consider himself like this? Well, he goes on to say how he persecuted the church of Christ. Paul persecuted the church of Christ, and it led him to believe that he's not worthy to be called an apostle. But then he goes on to say how he labored and toiled more than all the other apostles. Like he worked harder than everyone else. He faced more tribulations and trials than the other apostles did. Yet not I, he goes on to say, but the grace of God. Paul called to be an apostle of Jesus Christ.